Hey everyone, JT here, and today I'm doing my oil change on my 2019 Camaro RS. I kind of already done it all, but I did want to share something because this is something that I think is very important to know if you own one of these Camaros. When you're doing your own oil changes like I do, there's a couple of things I want to go over with you just to kind of maybe help you out if you get stuck. Doing the oil change on this car is pretty much like you would do an oil change on any car. You take the oil pan screw off and you let the oil drip, then you put it back on and you take the oil filter off, etc., etc., just how you would normally do a oil change. However, there are a couple of caveats when it comes to things that gave me difficulty the first time I did this, so I thought I would share that. So what I did want to share is that the hardest thing to do in this car, don't mind the bugs, I haven't cleaned it. But the hardest thing to do in this car is actually to take the oil filter off. And I'm going to show you why it's so difficult to do that. Because of the placement of it. So let's roll down here. And you see right there, there's your oil pan with your screw. Very easy to get to. Two different methods of being able to get this off. You can get this off with a general socket wrench. It's a 15 millimeter one. So if you got a 15, really easy just to put that on top and take it off and put it on. Or if you want to use a star key drill, you can get a star key that fits in there and take it off that way as well. If you feel like you don't want to strip the bolt here using a socket wrench, but either way works there. I use a 15 millimeter socket wrench and it works pretty easily. The hardest part is the oil filter placement. So the oil filter placement on this car is literally right here. So if you see it right there, I'm going to try to move the camera around. The camera might flip around a couple of times, but I'm going to try to do the best that I can. But there's your oil filter right there. So with the placement of where it's at, you got all of these obstructions here all around. As you see, it's really close to the pan. It's got these it's got the frame that's kind of blocking it here. A couple of the brake lines here are also right in the vicinity of the filter. So if you went and got, if this is the first time you're doing an oil change on this car, because you know these oil filters are typically machined on, it's going to be really difficult to get this off with just your hands. If you get it off with just your hands, you are a badass, and I commend you for that, because I could not. So because of the location of it, as you can see, I'll put my hand over it, where my hand kind of blocks everything. There's all kinds of obstructions here, like all around here. So the best thing to use, in my opinion, is if you can want to spend the extra money on it, get the oil filter wrench, the attachment that you can put on your socket wrench. Get that, so that this way you can just put it over the top and you loosen it up with your socket wrench, and it's very easy that way. However, if you're like me and you didn't buy one of those and you were like, oh well, I can't get it off of my hand when I thought that I could, and I have a general purpose oil wrench that looks just like this. It looks just like one of these. It's one of these guys. See? It's the ones that wrap around the oil filter and you turn it. If you're going to use one of those, I'm going to warn you right now that it's very difficult to wrap it around. So there's about one spot that I found, which is about right here. So if you look at where I have this placed, I have the oil wrench filter right kind of on the top of it, right here. Of course you have to tighten it, but right here is about the happy spot for this this oil filter wrench. If you try it anywhere else, there's so many obstructions that get in the way that you cannot get this thing on right. Like it just blocks it. So right here is about the only spot. And if you tighten it up, it's gonna be, the filter's not gonna, or the wrench is not gonna be on it completely. Like it's gonna be a little bit off, but it'll be just enough to loosen it up or tighten it up. That's the best thing that I can tell you. I'm not gonna actually do it because I have a camera in one hand and a wrench in the other. I need 2 hands for this, but you get the picture where you need to get it around. And then I'm gonna see if I can do this. Let's see. I'll see if I can at least get it around for you. I may not. Nope. I'm not gonna be able to do this with one hand. This is where having an extra person would be nice to hold the camera. All right, about right here, like I said, about right here is about the happy space. It'll snap in when you turn the wrench over. It'll fit in there just like that, and then you'll have enough room just to slightly move it to the left if you need to loosen it, and slightly turn it to the right if you need to tighten it. Of course, with these, once you get it nice and loose, you should be able to hand loosen it or hand tighten it at that point. It's really just for getting it, for breaking the tension. So, but like I said, the easiest thing to do is go to O'Reilly's or AutoZone, go pick up the oil filter wrench attachment for your socket wrench. This way you just put it over the top, you get it, and then you just torque it to the left or torque it to the right, and it's super easy that way. But that's all I got. That's what I wanted to share with y'all, because I figure if anybody else owns these Camaros, you might fall into that problem if you're doing the oil changes.